Hi, and welcome to Conscious Conversations, Talk That Transforms. We're having higher consciousness conversations to help you in your own transformation journey, as well as together raising the level of consciousness on the planet right here, right now, while you're listening. I'm Nicola, the Mission Mentor, and I help entrepreneurs clarify and monetize their next level of mission to get out there, make an impact, and leave a legacy. You can find out more about me at nicolagrace.com. In this episode, I'm talking to Cian and Sophie Jai about the crypto economy, manifestation, and magic in that economy to succeed with crypto. As you're listening to these conscious conversations, we have coded in a leveling up of consciousness. So as you're participating with us in the conversation by listening, by commenting, we are vibing up the planet right here, right now. So we would appreciate it if you subscribed, liked this episode, and even shared it on your social media platforms so we can have a massive elevation today. I'm so excited that I'm joined with a couple of dear friends of mine that I only met recently in Tulum, Mexico, Sophie and Cian, Sophie Jai and Cian Kenshin. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Good morning.
They have a school called the Prison Institute of Alchemy, which dives deep into the mystical, magical, manifestational wisdom that can help you create a better life, but also work at a whole other level as a transformational leader to make things a lot easier for you, come into more flow, but also reignite your ancient power to affect massive shifts in consciousness on the planet. Did I get that right, guys?
Oh yeah,
definitely.
Yeah. we like, for short, we like to say we're an esoteric leadership school.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's the 2-second elevator pitch.
Yeah.
Awesome. And what we're going to be talking about is elevating up out of old ways of manifesting that are slightly off and moving into something called Magick with a K, not magic with a C, and how and why that's important in the new crypto economy that we are moving into. So first of all, Cian, let's start with you with your background, because you come from a corporate background, and I know many of my listeners are going to relate to this. You had an awakening, and then you became this esoteric teacher, and you're a priest in your field, right? So talk to us about how that awakening happened and why you moved out of corporate.
Well, okay, I mean, most people who are successful at corporate get really good at, setting goals and achieving goals and setting goals and achieving goals. And, I was just like that. But what I started to notice was that every goal that I achieved, I was happy for moments, and then I'd be like, oh, now I want that. Now I want that. And that kind of thing is what drove me into questioning, well, what's actually going on? Why can't I just be happy? You know, why can't I just accept things that they are and just be like, oh, this is great.
And you got to the point where we're talking about achieving, the MBA in international finance, the multi-6-figure job, the 5-bedroom house on a 1/4-acre property. He had all of the material stuff.
You also worked for the NFL, right?
Yeah, yes. I was a high-level consultant for the NFL. I basically showed them how to unfuck their minds at the end of the day. It was really we built the teams that I was consulting with, the directors and executives. We kind of were a few years built all of their content libraries, all of their online platforms. And I was working with the guys who were trying to do the strategic thinking, but getting pulled into the muck. And so I kept having to elevate them back up and, do kind of the mindset work and all of that sort of stuff.
Nice.
So that was kind of a transitional point for me, going from full corporate into mindset and actually using a little bit of magic with these folks without
knowing it.
without just hey, let's make this stuff just kind of go smoothly and help people get out of their own way and that sort of stuff. So that was kind of an initial point. You also mentioned like I'm a priest. I'm a Zen priest, not an other kind of priest. So it's still all in the same area. And what I've learned is that all of the esoteric religions, all of the internal parts of it, actually all use magic, though none of them call it that.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what Sophie and I are doing, is we're extracting magic from the esoteric inner order of religions, and we're bringing it into the mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
We're bringing it into business. We're bringing it into people's lives in a way that manifestation was done like 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Cool. And Sophie, similar to you, corporate, esoteric, dodgeball champion in the middle, right?
Yeah, I definitely had that standard type A overachiever. I was the first person in my family to go to university, paid for it all myself. I had my first job when I was 8, and that did me really well in corporate. I was also, 6 figures in the tech world, owning my own 2-bedroom condo in downtown Winnipeg. And that is a woman in the tech industry is like, that's saying something. And I, similar to Cian, kind of got to this point where I was like, okay, I've got my dream job. And I'm 30 and like I have 30 more years of doing this grindy thing. And I don't really want to do it for another 30 years if I've already got my dream job. And you know what? My dream job didn't crack out. Like, it didn't turn out to be my dream. It didn't give me the things that I thought I was going to get by achieving it. Yeah, I had the 6-figure salary, and yeah, I had the cool title, and I got to travel all over the world for my job. Like, those things were great. But I also still had an asshole boss. I also still didn't have control of my time. I also still was like paying more money in living expenses than I was bringing in. So I still didn't feel financially free because, of course, there's the societal expectation that you have to live at a certain level and expend at a certain level as a consumer in order to justify what you've earned. And so I just still felt trapped. I had golden handcuffs on, and I was like, well, wait, this isn't the dream. The dream was not golden handcuffs, right? So it's like we've been fed this lie, and I just woke up to it and I said, well, honestly, like, no, this isn't what I want. And fortunately, I was far enough. I had kind of, my spiritual journey, Cian's was about 8 years before we got together. Mine was very fast. Because my brain, once I've decided something, it goes. I jump in with both feet and there's no looking back. So I spent about 1.5 years diving into manifestation and really learning those principles, which worked well with my psychology university degree. And once I got it and it clicked, I was just like, oh, cool. I can manifest this. I can manifest this. I can manifest this. Well, what if I manifested a spiritual life that actually felt good to me and still created the type of income that I wanted? That became my big endeavor. And I mean, we hit it in like less than a year. So obviously it worked.
Yeah. So a lot of my audience have been working with the law of attraction and manifesting, have got really great businesses or in the process of, rejigging or I call it like a midlife crisis, because it is it's a bit of an identity crisis that you go through, heading in new directions, but knowing there's a calling to lead in a much more significant way, given where we're at in the world. And finding some of those manifestation techniques that we have relied on aren't working so well, or were really patchy in the first place. So I really want to dive into what is the secret to actually having things in your life the way you want them, and then as a leader building that business and building that influence using some of the things that you're working with. So talk to me first of all about the difference between manifestation and magic, and then magic with a K and magic with a C.
Okay. So can I talk with manifestation and then I'll let you go from there?
Yeah, maybe give just redefine what is manifestation so we can talk to the differences.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I want to start with saying like manifestation is awesome. It's a really, really great tool.
It changed your life.
It changed my life.
Yeah.
I like to say like manifestation was my gateway drug into spirituality, right? So we don't want to poo-poo manifestation, but what I do want to say is manifesting is like your ability to change your world is kind of on training wheels, or you're kind of on like, you're in a bumper pad. And there's a few reasons we'll talk about as to why. But we've all heard that manifestation, all of it is, we make our vision board, we decide what we want from whatever space, we decide what we want. And then it's a matter of becoming the person that already has those things and feeling the feelings of the person that already has those things. And we talk about that in manifestation. We talk about that in quantum programming. And The challenge that we see here that Magick really beautifully resolves is that it's really hard to quantum leap when you're working in that paradigm with manifestation. Like let's say you've got I like to use the example of a Lamborghini. I'm probably going to inadvertently manifest a Lamborghini. I don't actually like them, but I talk about them all the time. So they're probably going to end up showing up in my reality.
It's okay. Crypto people talk about Lambos all the time.
Oh, is that okay?
Yeah,
so it's a thing. It's a thing.
Yeah,
okay. So if let's say you've got a Lambo and you've got 5 properties around the world, that's on your vision board. Tell me, what does it feel like to have those things? What is the person who has those things? How are they being? We probably have no clue.
Yeah.
Right?
A little out of reach.
It's so out of reach.
Yeah.
And so with manifestation, you've really got to baby step your way up because you're working with your own individual capacity to feel and believe that those things are possible for you. And that requires things like shadow work and mindset work and all these psychological reprogramming. So you don't often see
work. Shadow work.
Yeah, I mean,
work. Yeah.
The biggest complaint I hear from people who are trying to manifest things is like, my life's like really crappy right now. It's really hard for me to feel like appreciation, never mind love and expansiveness and all the stuff you're talking about, right? Like, how am I supposed to feel the feeling of my future self if I'm like under so much weight already?
Yeah.
Right. Like I think this manifestation stuff is just bullshit and you're blaming the victim.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not saying that's the case, but this is people's perception is like, it's so out of reach for them to feel those feelings that they feel like you're blaming them for not doing it right. And it's therefore their fault. And that gives them another reason to think I've failed. I'm stuck here. I'm never going to get out of it.
Keeps them low vibration.
Yeah.
The other complaint that we hear about manifestation all the time that Magick also beautifully resolves is time, right? Not everybody has an hour a day to sit and visualize and do their scripting. I mean, we're fortunate that we've built our life, but if you're still, working in a 9-to-5 and building your job or you're restructuring or you're going through that midlife crisis, like you've got other priorities, you've got other things that are going on. And like manifestation requires a complete revolution of your identity in order to make the next shift. And that takes work. It takes shadow work and all those things take time.
Yeah. So Magick with a K solves the problem of work.
Yeah. So Magick with a K, not to be confused with Magic with a C, which is like card tricks and like, entertainment and stuff. Magick with a K is similar to manifestation in that it works with the quantum field. It works with the field of probabilities. But the difference is that it bypasses your local field, i.e. my own beliefs, my own limitations, my own ability to
my own
emotions. And it works with the non-local field, which is like the collective unconscious, the Akashic records, all of everything that anyone in all of history has ever done. So it works with things like symbols, scents, fragrances,
sigils,
sacraments, altars, colors. Basically, if you think of any sense that your body has, there is a specific way of activating a certain frequency in each sense that you have, which activates a certain frequency in the collective unconscious. And so, for example, if you're working with a symbol that magicians have used for thousands of years to activate a certain frequency, i.e. a certain result. I want more creativity. I want more wisdom.
I want more health. I want more
health. I want more love. I want more whatever, right? There's like correspondences for pretty much anything you can imagine. It activates it in the non-local field, meaning it doesn't even require you to believe that it works. All that's required of you is to know what the correspondences are, know what the mechanism is, feel like that, oh my God, this could possibly work, like wow, and then do the actions, and then it just works.
Yeah. It basically is like you can't mess it up, right? The challenge that we have with manifestation is even if you spend 20 minutes a day or an hour a day doing your, rituals and doing your visualization and doing your scripting and listening to your subliminals and all that kind of stuff, that's only an hour out of 24 hours. If you spend the next 23 hours of your day thinking it's not going to work, I'm unworthy, this is stupid, etc., because you haven't done the shadow work, then guess what? 23 hours out of one, what's going to win?
Yeah.
Whereas with Magick, because you're not dealing with your own subconscious, you're dealing with the collective powers. You could spend the rest of your day thinking, you're a complete piece of poop, and it doesn't matter because the collective has you. You've literally put in your order form in a way that hundreds of thousands of magicians have done before you. And that is way more powerful than any little dirt that you could get in your own mind.
Yeah, and I think that you've nailed the talk that transforms right there when you're talking about joining the collective that is working with you to get what it is that you're going after, as opposed to collective consciousness, which is the crab pulling you back down to the bottom of the hole so that you don't ever get out of that hole. I think that's really big for leaders right now, because what's happening, what I'm seeing with conscious leaders right now is we are witnessing witch hunting going on of people stepping out, telling their truth, having an alternative view. So I'm seeing leaders shrinking a little bit and not wanting to be fully visible in their power just yet. Because I mean, look what's happening to Joe Rogan, right? All he's doing is talking to people with different views in a different time. That was a great thing. That was called journalism. But today, they're putting the T word on it. Yeah. So talk to me about how Magick can help those conscious leaders become really powerful in their stand, because I know from, having had you living underneath me and working underneath as an apartment underneath downstairs, that there are, it works for you. I mean, you got your guy, you live a really magical life and things just flow, and anything that seems to come in that might be appearing as a block isn't a block. It's actually
motivation,
part of that collective and motivation. Yeah. So talk to that about the way that this Magick is helping you in your life be a conscious leader that's not afraid of being visible.
Well, maybe I can use a good example, because like this example is about like the way that we work with crypto, but it's also transposable to working with business and being a conscious leader, as you'll see in a second. So when we use Magick and we're trying to magic a certain result, we choose a certain formula, right? And the formula is, I want you to affect the way that I am so that the results that happen in my field are different, right? And so, for example, with crypto, Magick can affect the way that I make decisions, what information I let in and what information I reject.
Okay.
Who do I listen to? Who do I not listen to? Like what am I inspired just all of a sudden to like follow on a rabbit hole? What feelings do I feel when something happens, which tends to dictate my behavior, right? Mm-hmm. So like, that's just an example of like how Magick with a certain formula can affect the way you are. Mm-hmm. Like nobody really understands the way that they make decisions. We rationalize all of our decisions after the fact, right? Mm-hmm. All of our, like modern science has proven that all of our decisions are made long before the rational mind comes up with the story. Magick is affecting that part of us that is really dictating how our story unfolds in front of us. Mm-hmm. And that's just on the local, that's just on me. Now, imagine in the crypto or business world, now Magick can affect, who actually comes into our field.
Yeah, someone will get inspired to reach out to us when they hadn't been before. Like the number of people that we've had reach out to us in the last 3 weeks with DAOs, with affiliate programs, with different really cool ideas. Like it's actually mind-boggling. It's almost too many. We're like, okay, now we're gonna have to do some magic. What
am I supposed to do with all of this, right? I need abundance. Give me the creative powers to like figure out how this fits together, right? Mm-hmm. And so like who comes into our field? Who do they meet and then lights them up with other ideas and brings those ideas to us. And then, oh, say I'm investing in a crypto project that I really believe in. What are the dynamics of the team inside of that project? Like Magick affects the local and the non-local as far as it's connected to you, just like manifestation does, right? It just doesn't have a lot of the hurdles that manifestation have. And it works as long as you're careful in the way that you construct the magic and layer the correspondences and the spells together. Like there's a little skill here, right? As long as you're careful in how you put your order form out, you kind of use the intelligence of the collective unconscious of the universe to bring the optimal solution to your field.
Right.
And you hit on something really important too there, is that there's a little bit of skill required. And that's one thing just like we definitely need to touch on. There's a reason that the principles that we teach are traditionally kept secret. And it's because if you haven't done the shadow work, it is absolutely possible to burn yourself. So what we have done, and this is why I say like Magick, it doesn't require the shadow work, but if you haven't done the shadow work and you construct your spell in the wrong way, or let's take a simple love spell, there's a very big difference between I want Nicola to fall in love with me and I want someone to fall in love with me. And
someone I want who's like this,
someone who has Nicola's characteristics, right? I want Nicola to fall in love with me is very dangerous. And karmically, that's not good for anybody, right?
It can technically work.
But
there is a kickback, right?
Exactly.
Control. You're coming from control rather than a core center. Yeah. So I like how you said that when you've learned the skills that you guys teach, you're standing in that powerful position of knowing, well, I can let in and keep out whatever I want. So there's nothing to fear, right?
Exactly.
Because you're grounded in that core power. So let's talk about how crypto and Magick came together, because you do teach skills to help people in that economy. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, they're perfect.
Yeah, like it just kind of came to us one day after doing some creative magic of like, oh my God, crypto's perfect. And let's go back to the love spell as just an example of like how you need to kind of work with the magic and why crypto naturally does that. So for example, if you're doing a love spell, like I've created my vision board or mind movie or whatever, I know exactly who it is I want, and you do all the magic or manifestation, whatever tool you're using, but then you stay in your apartment all day and you never go out. The amount of power required to make the spell make somebody literally fly through your window accidentally is monumental. I'm not saying it's impossible, but like the amount of power to overcome like the karmic forces of your door, of your walls, of all of this stuff is beyond like even I don't have that kind of power, right? Like, so you have to actually like do the magic or manifestation, whatever tool you're doing, and then take the empowered action is what they say. But why are we taking the actions? The reason that they give the rule of you need to take the empowered aligned actions is because you want to minimize the amount of power required for the universe to bring this stuff into your field. So if you're surrounded,
beautiful.
Exactly.
If you're surrounded by a freaking moat, if you're surrounded by a moat, no one's going to be able to get to you. So you need to like get out of the castle, get into chaos. You need to expose yourself to chaos. So now the universe is like, oh, now I have all of these opportunities. I'm going to calculate the best one to like random encounter. At a coffee shop or on the street, or, somebody trips and you catch them, or like now you're exposed to all sorts of opportunities for the universe to bring that archetype that you've ordered into your field. So the key here is chaos. The key here is exposure to events that the field can now bring into you without having to overcome big karmic forces like walls and moats. Now, why is crypto can you think about why crypto might be really good for that sort of thing?
Because it's chaotic and extremely volatile.
Oh, right. So now Magick can affect, how do I make decisions? Who do I talk to? Who subscribes to my YouTube channel? Who comments on a thing? What projects are successful? Which ones are unsuccessful?
What coins should I be in that are going to do the big thing for me, right?
Yeah.
What pattern do I see in my charts versus which ones do I miss? You know, what technical indicator do I accidentally turn on and see something? Or how do I construct the programmatic options in my bots? You know, like there's like thousands. I could go on
Hundreds
all day.
and thousands. Yeah.
I could go on all day of all of the little aspects of crypto in the local and non-local field that Magick can affect.
Yeah. And by the way, those of you listening, conscious entrepreneurs, conscious leaders, if you're not in crypto, you need to get educated to be here. And I've got a lot of stuff on this. I've also done quite a lot of interviewing of Cian on crypto in our Conscious Crypto channel as well, which I'll leave links below. You have a program that helps people with crypto teaching these magic skills, right? So talk to us a little bit about that, because it's got a really cool name. Is that right?
Yeah. So our program is Solomon's Crypto Magic.
I love it.
And why Solomon? Who's Solomon?
So King Solomon is a biblical figure. And no, we're not like Christian or Catholic or anything, but
This is a non-denominational program.
we're magicians. And actually, he's a biblical figure, known as the wealthiest king of all time. He is also, which has been stricken from many records, but
Not the records we have access
given the
to.
books that he's written and the secret texts that we've read, he was one of the most powerful magicians of all time. How do you think he became the most wealthy king of all time? Right? He was also a methodical, empirical scientist. I've gone through his records, and like the meticulous nature of his notes, of the books he wrote, of like he indexed like hundreds of angels, hundreds of so-called demons. And what does this one do? What is, like, does this one lie to you? Does this one tell the truth? Like, what is the personality? What do they look like? And then what effects can they have if you invoke them? What chemical or fragrance correspondences are there? Like what does frankincense do? You know, like what are all of the effects on the local and non-local field that all of these things have? And then he wrote these wonderful books. He has the Greater and Lesser Keys of Solomon that explain high magic and low magic, and how do you combine all of these things together and then track the results of these things in order so that you can kind of prove to your like limited ego mind that this stuff's actually working. Because that's another thing, is like, if we don't treat magic like scientists, our egos basically like experience the effects and go, wow, this is great, and then make us forget it because it doesn't want to believe in magic.
Because we have so much conditioning around it. So this program has equal parts magic and equal parts crypto. We've done a very good job of sourcing crypto entrepreneurs that are absolute leaders in their field, that are doing wildly different things than everybody else. They come in and they do talks around how they were inspired, what's possible, what their views are next. The purpose of that is to help people see all of the chaos that's possible for them, and to expand their consciousness, to open those filters so that they can see not just how can I add wealth to my portfolio through crypto, but also as a conscious business owner, how can I use NFTs to change the world, to further my mission? How can I set up a DAO to make a really big difference? How can I create a wearable that's going to transform the world, right? How can I use this to even decrease administrative costs? So we have like just genius entrepreneurs coming in that will not just talk on how do I make more money with crypto, but how do you make this the main purpose of your business, the main function of your business, if you want it to be. that actually allows you to expand and to reach even further. And I know there's so many people that are listening to this that have had issues of censorship, that have had issues of deplatforming, money being taken from them through like the standard protocols. And Web3 is the solution for all of that. And so we're bringing in the people into this program who are already doing it, who can show you how, on top of teaching you the magical rituals that will get you there as well.
Yeah, the idea is all of this will inspire your creative mind in your own business. Of like, oh, I didn't know you could do that with crypto. I thought crypto was just an investment vehicle. Oh, if I can do this thing, wow. Now there's the spark that's been lit.
There's the chaos.
And all of the possibilities open up in front of you, and you do magic to empower that spark, and you like do time dilation, right? You literally collapse the amount of time it would take you to build something into like a really, really short period of time.
Totally. And before I talk to that point, I just want to let everybody know that Sophie and Cian are doing a webinar on this, what is it? Solomon's
Crypto Magic.
That's right, Solomon's Crypto Magic, and you can join that below. I've left the link. It's the first link down below that you can join that. And if you're interested in their program, we can give you some information about that as well. Because I know from me as a conscious leader, I've been looking at Web 3.0 very closely. As you know, I've created my own NFT collection, and I just want to talk a little bit about what's possible for you guys when you do the program with Sophie and Cian. It's going to open you up into other avenues of getting your message out there in a way that you might not be thinking, but you have to think, because it will become the future economy, and all of the old ways of you delivering your message are slowly going to dry up and probably disappear. As a visionary, I've got goosebumps all the way up my arms. As a visionary, I have seen that, and I have been teaching that to all of my clients, getting them ready for Web 3.0. And just very, very briefly, to give you an example, I've created an NFT collection called Quantum Freedom, and it's teaching my quantum principles. You've got NFTs as well, too, teaching your principles. And so when I look at the finances of it, by the end of the year, because I'm able to do residual income from it, I'm going to 1,000x the income from that teaching than if I did a traditional teaching method of just putting a course up online or doing a group coaching program or so on, or even speaking and doing retreats and what have you. So I want to go back to, you've got some guests that are not only talking about NFTs, but DAOs as well, right? Which is like hugely innovative technology that a lot of us go, oh my goodness, I can't get my head around this on my own. But by doing your program, you've got like a chocolate box of options, right?
Basically.
Yeah. And then and then the magic to be able to help them get into the easy manifestation of it. So you're not having to go into startup. Is that correct?
Yes. That's exactly it. I mean, the magic, as we said, is going to teach you how to like evaluate decisions, figure out which opportunities are right for you, like really ground how, like learn it more effectively. Ground, does this actually resonate for me? Because the truth is, there's so many DAOs and so many options out there now. It's like, it's mind blowing, right? We said earlier, even we're having trouble deciding who do we want involved in this program and not, who's going to be of the best service of the people that are in it, because as of right now, we've spoken to at least 10 DAOs. Those are just the ones that have come into our sphere. I'm sure there's hundreds, if not thousands, by the time that this program is live, right? The magical tools are helping you, again, make the decision, which DAO is the right DAO for me, and helping that DAO be the most successful it can be. And if this is gibberish for you guys, do you want to explain a DAO like in 30 seconds or less?
Okay, so no rabbit hole, just a really short elevator pitch what a DAO is. Distributed autonomous organization. So it basically leverages smart contracts on the blockchain, which are programmatic computer-based contracts that say, if this happens, then this happens. And the DAO, it basically becomes an organization that implements procedures as far as, what do these smart contracts do? What do they not do? What do we invest in? What do we not invest in? basically like a corporation. So if you have a corporation, you've got a bunch of shareholders, and they, like once a year or whatever, they go and vote on, the direction of the company. A DAO is a little bit different. It's the same in that you have people who own the governance tokens of the DAO that allows them to vote on what the DAO should do and not do. But because it's all programmatic, like the voting happens whenever people want it to. Like you could have votes once a week, you'd have votes once a day, you could have votes once a month. Like, because shareholders don't have to meet in a room and do the whole formal procedure thing, everything like that is done on the blockchain using code. So it's rapid. So the organization evolves rapidly. It makes decisions rapidly. And we're starting to see one example of a great DAO that's happening. I'm not going to name them because that would be pumping certain projects, but there are DAOs that are acting like VCs.
Yeah.
Venture capitalist funds. So the old, San Francisco, venture capitalist sort of corporations built there, and they got shareholder money and partner money and stuff, and they go and invest in projects. Now there's this idea of DAOs that take crypto from investors who become part of the governance or not part of the governance, and then they redeploy that capital into projects that they've vetted in the crypto space. So these are going to be transformational. So now you've got startups that can get capital from DAOs instead of these big old hegemonic organizations with a lot of old policies and old boys club sort of stuff, right? Like a lot of these DAOs are being that's more than 30 seconds. Sorry.
That was a lot more than 30
sorry.
seconds.
That's okay. The bottom line is you're going to be presenting a chocolate box of options in Web 3.0. And I'm going to say it again in case you missed it. This is the economy that as conscious leaders, entrepreneurs, you need to be getting educated in and au fait with, because this will be the economy that survives World War III, if God forbid that actually happens. It will survive the economy crash. It will survive so much of what is just crashing before our eyes, as well as needing to be there anyway, because traditional forms of getting your message out there and traditional forms of making money with your message are drying up, and they're drying up really fast, right? So this is really important that we segue into this, which is why I started Conscious Conversations, Talk That Transforms, with Sophie and Cian, and to bring this, this window open for possibilities for you. So again, they're doing a webinar. Is there a cost to the webinar? It's free.
No. It's free, and it will also offer a wealth activation. So when you come, we're actually doing an energetic wealth activation, so you can get an idea of what it feels like to be in the space of magic just by attending the webinar.
Yeah. And I can tell you, I have done a number of the techniques that Cian and Sophie use. They've taught me and they work, and they are incredibly transforming and things that you can implement on a daily basis. Then if you're interested in the program, you can learn more about the program at the webinar, and we will have a link below for that as well. So Cian, is Cian coming back? Oh, here he is.
Yep.
Sorry, I had to let the dog back in.
Yeah,
Aurora. Yeah.
Right. So just as a final note, leaving on a transformative note in this moment, talk to us about the key moment that you realized that this was shifting the way you operated and the way you thought, and you could see the result, you could see tangible results coming towards you. Because you do, you flow like I've never seen flow before. It is incredible what you guys manifest together. You're digital nomads. It is not easy traveling the world and building a double six-figure business. That's not an easy thing to do, right?
Yeah. I think actually I'm getting chills here. So we used to have a different example that talked about bugs in Peru and Costa Rica, in Peru. And that was a really good one. But we actually have a more recent one that we just realized literally the other day that I threw audience, which is, obviously right now at the time of this recording, we are in a launch And, you know, we've all, I think, had horror stories of what it's like to be in launch and shit breaking and getting into fights, especially as a conscious couple, right? The last few launches we've done have been really hard. Like, honestly, even with all the mindset work and everything, the last time we did a big launch was about 8 months ago. And 8 months ago, this was before we were really embodying Magick. And it was hard. We were moving, things went wrong all the time, 24 hours a night, getting content ready. Someone on our team quit at the last minute. Like, we just had that traditional, like, the launch itself was successful, but it was hard. It was hard. This launch, you know, we've been in it for about 3 weeks now, and a lot of the same stuff has come up. We've ended up getting the hit to move. All of these things have happened, and now we've been embodying Magick for full 8 months. And this is by far the most easeful launch we have ever held. We haven't sacrificed our sleep. We haven't, like, there's been no fighting. Nothing has gone wrong. The few couple things that have, we've just been like, oh, okay, we've just flown through it. And that is on the heels of saying that this is the most complex launch structure we've ever attempted, and the longest launch structure we've ever attempted, and will be by far like a 10x over the last launch. Like, we already know, actually probably more like a 20x.
Based on the numbers that we're seeing already. Yeah, it's gonna be huge.
So, and that literally all we did is Magick.
Yeah. So I know you guys out there have done launches or are looking at doing launches and going, oh my goodness, there's so much more work to do. So it would be great to get these skills that Sophie and Cian are teaching, so that it can be so much more easeful. And more than that too, is the influence that, like, your audience is growing really large and you're outside of the system, right? You don't have to go into the system of having a big Twitter following and which is the same as me. We've not had to have big social media followings to make big money. That's a myth, guys. Yeah. And these days with deplatforming and algorithms that are discriminating against you, you know, it's like there are other ways. And this is one of the ways that we're going to be talking about a lot on Conscious Conversations. Thanks so much. Is there anything else or any lingering thought that you want to bring forward that we didn't cover in today's Conscious Conversation?
The one that came up to me that we didn't get a chance is for those of you that are hesitant about Web3 or moving into that space. That is like saying, I'm not into this whole car thing in 1905.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I say. Yeah.
So the time is now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do not
and learn from people you trust.
Well,
exactly.
And we've been blessed by a lot of conditions, like interest rates going up, like a war, like all of this sort of stuff that have depressed both the stock market and the crypto market. So like, but this is not, as you just saw, like today there was a bounce. People are like, oh no, actually inflation's going up too. So actually, shouldn't crypto be going up? Why is it so depressed? And all of a sudden, boom, you know, everything's starting to shift. So like, I really think we only have a few months to accumulate what we need. And this program is exactly going to teach people how to do that, how to use Magick to optimize the accumulation before the market just goes crazy. Once everyone realizes that inflation is like taking off like a wildfire, crypto's going to go parabolic again.
Yeah, definitely needing to be moving into crypto and Web 3.0 to get your message out there. You do not want to be caught with a buggy and a buggy whip when there are no more buggy whips makers and no more buggy mechanics.
Yep. And first movers advantage is a real thing, you guys. So take advantage of it now.
First mover advantage is a real thing. Absolutely. I love you guys so much. I am going to miss you when you move out of Costa Rica, but there's Zoom, right? We're going to have
then you visit us in Bali.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Awesome. Thanks so much for joining us. Thank you everybody for listening. And we would love your support by liking this conversation here, whatever the button is below that you can do that. And definitely you want to be subscribing and being part of our community, having conscious conversations, talk that transforms. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.